Greetings and salutations, pipe gals and pals. Holy smoking pipe Padre coming back at you with another video. That's right. So let me change things up just a little bit. Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back. Hold on just a second. Let me just try something else here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think that must be hopefully a little bit more of an improvement. Okay, yeah. All right. And doing a little multicam right there. Yeah, with a little iPad mini. Okay. Okay, well, good evening. How y'all doing? Like I said, Holy Smoking Pipe Padre coming back at you with another video. This one here, I don't know when I'm going to publish it, but it's kind of showcasing some of my new stuff. I've got the Rode NTG3 right over here, and I just got the Sennheiser 416. 416 is a very special number for yours truly. Maybe one day I'll explain why, but 416, don't know what it is about it, but that number has been with me probably since I was a little boy. 416. Okay, so and also I got the new AMRAM 100 light source over there, so kind of doing a little more professional lighting, and got a little cinematic background going on too. So just trying to up the video quality on the videos, the production quality, I should say. And I am smoking my one and only Joby, and in it I'm smoking this Carolina. It's called Carolina Red Flake. I call it Carolina Reaper. Carolina Reaper flake, and it's not bad. It's a little bit bone dry, kind of bone dry tonight. One of the things that's kind of interesting about living up here in this area of California, the Tahoe Basin state line, it's awfully dry up here. Very, very, very dry. Not it's a dry county, but it's just dry. One of the funny things that I kind of notice is that we have a little holy water fonts going into the church, and they dry out pretty quick. Yeah, we're surrounded with a lot of snow. Still got plenty of snow on the ground. It's the Ides of March. That's right, March 15th. I think the Ides of March actually go from March 14th to March 17th. But don't hold me on it. Don't hold me too fast to that one, Pipe Pals. But that's what I've been told, that the Ides of March is, not just March 15th, but kind of incorporates 14, 15, 16, 17. So there you go. St. Paddy's Day. And a happy St. Paddy's Day too, March 17th is Sunday, So get out your corned beef and cabbage, or your corned beef and bacon, or your bacon and cabbage. Your bacon and cabbage. That's the real, true, traditional Irish dish with caul cannon and some Irish soda bread. That's right. So, if you're into those kinds of Irish delicacies and some, what was the Irish whiskey? Was it Bushmills or Powers? I guess those are the two Irish whiskeys. Yeah, Bushmills. Sorry. I mean, if you're a Bushmills drinker, don't take this the hard way. Just that back in my drinking days, I had to, they say you have to sometimes acquire a taste for scotch and basically all alcohol. You're drinking poison. Sorry, but it's true. But I remember Bushmills, and the only reason why I guess I thought it'd be a good thing, why, I don't know, a good thing to drink Bushmills was because, at the time, and this is so sad in some ways, most of our clergy in this diocese, when I started out 30 some odd years ago, I'd say 75% of them were all Irish. There was, a few Mexican guys and, there were some Yanks, some Americans, but for the most part, they were all Irish, right off the boat Irish, Places like, Kilkenny and County Mayo and County Clare and, County Wicklow and, I know I live in Placer County, but I think I know probably more Irish counties than I do California counties, only because we used to have so many padres up here, that were from Ireland. And now Ireland has pretty much, it's amazing, within the last, say, 15 years, they've rejected the Catholic faith, and it's an absolute tragedy, I think. It really is. So anyway, I'd kind of digress, but yes. So the Ides of March are upon us. Let's see if I can drop that down just a tad. Okay, so there's that little camera there. I'm not gonna try and do anything with that one there, but I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Okay, so I'm back with another video, and it's kind of interesting making videos. Obviously, I like making videos, and a few of you actually like watching them and find them entertaining, or at least interesting to some extent. I like, as many of you know, I like trying different things and upping the production quality of the videos. And I do have this video channel, which is basically it's more of literally a pipification sort of pontification, or as pipification or whatever. But it's just mostly a channel. I just share the love of the briar and some of my favorite tobaccos, and and just kind of recall and reminisce about things in my life. A lot of people might find it interesting. Old middle-aged, almost antiquated now, old dinosaur of a guy, who finds himself in a very interesting set of circumstances in many ways. And sometimes it's beneficial to meditate and reflect on not just my life, but just the kind of the things that pass me by, things that are part and parcel of life for all of us, but for some reason, maybe we don't, I wouldn't say pay enough attention to the things in life that we encounter on a daily basis, things that we kind of maybe say as ordinary things, just, things we take for granted. But sometimes you get a little bit of I wouldn't say maybe a wake-up call, but you get like a highlighter effect, in life. If you had the power to just literally highlight a segment of your day's life, and you go, oh, that's interesting. instead of just letting it just pass you by. It's just running commentary, and just, okay, somebody says this or something, or this happens, or, just stuff that happens in life. And this past week, I took it upon myself to watch. I have, again, like I said, I have 2 YouTube channels. And the other one's just my homily channel. And I just share the weekly homily best I can. And a lot of times I really don't, obviously wouldn't say I don't put a lot of thought and effort into the scripts of these things. A lot of it's just unscripted. That's just the way it is. And I'm a pretty good, I guess, I can ramble, so I don't really need a big script. But that being said, so when I make my homily videos, they're probably, 1/4 of the length that these are. And about 10, 12 minutes. Sometimes they go about close to 20 minutes. Sometimes, not all the time, but I try to keep it around 10 minutes. And so sometimes, just like I make these videos, I kind of maybe do little extra things, in post. I make try to make it interesting, with music and transitions and, B-roll and all that stuff. But the last video I did, which is for the 5th Sunday in Lent, which is coming up. By the time you see this, it'll probably have already happened, and this will probably be a video from obviously the past. And I don't know how great the distance is, the delay will be. I just don't know, because I'm just making this. Basically what I'm doing is I'm testing out these new microphones and the new light. So I just wanted to, kind of just see what it's like, because this is a kind of a brand new setup for me, and I'm excited about it, as you can possibly tell. So, but that's what I'm doing mainly, and, kind of doing a pipe at the same time. Yeah. Okay, so what was interesting, here's the highlight moment, and I always find this fascinating. A lot of times, I will make a video. A lot of times, I might put in. I do put in thought. Don't get me wrong. When I say I don't put in a lot of these are all unscripted. It doesn't mean I don't put in a lot of thought. I don't just turn the camera on and just start rambling. I got to have a few thoughts in my rattling old empty head to kind of start with. Anyway, so, but a lot of times I'll kind of pride myself a little bit, say, hey, I really put in a good day's work on making that video. Maybe I had some extra music that I thought was a little more captivating or moving, maybe a little more kind of interesting, thought-provocative, kind of set a tone, set a mood, set a scene a little bit better. Maybe I have some drone footage that I'm really, thinking that was really crystal clear drone footage, and it looks beautiful, and that kind of thing. And maybe I even say a few things that I go, that was something that I think was worthwhile. I think some people might get something out of that. And just again, I just try to share. I don't try to necessarily pontificate or pipe-tificate in some case. I just kind of I try to call balls and strikes. That's basically what I do. And sometimes I'm wrong. I will freely admit that. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm right, and sometimes I'm kind of right in the middle, and, it's kind of take it or toss it kind of thing. So this week that I thought was so fascinating for me was the video I did for the 5th Sunday in Lent. Now, maybe it could be that I made it in the church. A lot of times I make the videos outside. Holy Lent is that Jesus... Okay. Next Sunday we will be celebrating. I'm surprised that that's not like dragon's breath. It's so. It's pretty. It's like dry like hay kind of stuff. Like weeds almost. So I really thought this was going to really be burning my tongue. A lot of tongue bite. None whatsoever. But so I guess maybe, there's a wonderful priest. He's an Orthodox priest, but he's a great priest, Father Spiridon Bailey, and I guess he's in England, and he has obviously the English pastoral, countryside, and he goes outside and he makes his videos outside most of the time. He does sometimes in his home with his icons and everything. But I was doing that kind of hit and miss. And then I said, I think I'm just going to make my videos outdoors, and a lot of times I do. And even in the snow, it's pouring down snow or rain or whatever. And probably not rain because that's not good for microphones, but still, excuse me. But anyway, so I try to make most of my videos in outdoors, kind of get the nature thing going. But this last video, I did it inside the church. I think we have a lovely church, although there are some Jesuits that would find our church appalling. Too much religious stuff there, Oh, you gotta get rid of that clutter, that religious clutter. Anyway, So I made this video. It really, I watched it because I was trying some different things. I have a set of different microphones that are used for different things, kind of like golf clubs. It's sort of like, I guess, for videographers and YouTubers and content creators, your microphones and your cameras are sort of like your golf clubs. You got different ones for different types of things. And so, anyway, so I made the video in the church, and it really didn't have a whole lot going on. It just was me talking. And again, it's unscripted. I just have a couple of thoughts, and I'm just trying to put them together. But it just seemed like I had like several people, which normally you might get a couple of comments. But for some reason, I didn't get first of all, let me back up. I didn't get like a boatload of comments. But I guess got several comments, which kind of took me by surprise. Like, that was really meaningful, or they got something out of that. And I'm going, well, okay. And I'd watched it. I just wanted to watch to see, because I had a couple little effects where I like zoom in, and, then it wasn't really a good effect at all. And, but for some reason, and I looked at it and go, that was kind of anemic. I was almost having to keep myself awake. At least that's the way it was. It just seemed kind of like, lukewarm oatmeal. It just, yeoman's kind of service type thing, okay, I guess it'll do in a pinch, and if somebody's looking for a little reflection on the readings for this week, maybe they might get something out of that. I don't know. But I had some people, even in my parish, I don't promote my videos. I don't monetize them. Again, the videos are kind of just a personal thing that I enjoy doing, and they give me a sense to prepare for the Sunday homily. Excuse me. And so, excuse me. So they're just kind of a dry run. You might get the dry heaves if you listen to it. But the thing is that it's just an avocation. It's an outlet. It's a creative outlet. I've always had some creative outlet in my life, whether it was art or building models, or then later I started building bicycles. And then later I built computers, on the side. Yeah, so I like that. I like that creativity thing, and so playing with different things like Final Cut Pro and Motion and Photoshop, and putting it all together, and making selecting music, and I even saw a thing today about you get the little mini keyboards, and you can probably make make it sound like an orchestra if you really want to, but. I'm kind of intrigued. I actually had one of those. I never did really get a chance to play with it. That was like 10 years ago. I think I have it. I may have it somewhere. Yeah, I think I know where it's at, in fact, which is kind of rare. A lot of times I I had these things and I have no idea where they are anymore. That's what happens when you get old. You just forget. And so anyway, so I was just, it was interesting because I had several people that commented on this video that I really don't think was all that great. And yet they seem to have gotten something out of it. So I did watch it. I think I watched it a second time. Just kind of like going, well, oh, wait, what was it? What was it that I said? You know? And I'm thinking I must have said something kind of, I wouldn't say profound. No. But I might have said something that resonated with somebody or maybe a group of people. And there are times when I really think I actually have, kind of connected, with the thoughts and the material, and I kind of at least got a triple, But that one there was barely a base hit. It just wasn't. It was kind of like if the pitcher or the shortstop had fumbled the ball, I wouldn't have even made it first base. It was that bad. I mean, it just didn't have any. Didn't seem like it had any energy to it, or didn't have any vitality. It was just lacking. It was lacking something. It was like put the guy out of his misery kind of thing. Poor suffering guy. But apparently I must have said something, and again, I have no idea. And again, that's the highlight thing probably. A lot of times it's not so much what you say, it's what other people hear. And I think that's true. And a lot of times, I know I'm probably overmodulating on some of these mics here, but they do sound awfully fuller, really full and rich. Again, I'm still learning how to do the EQ thing. I know I need to put limiters probably on my sound now. And now that I've got professional mics, they need special treatment in post, and I still am learning. It's like all these things I'm learning. But again, that's one of the things we've talked about before, right, Pipe Pals? The more things you learn, it kind of keeps you going. It kind of keeps you in the game. Yeah. I remember a video I made about 7 years ago when I was in Chico, and I was just coming out of my first time where I had that herniated disc, and again, I think it had to do, and I know some people don't want to hear this, but it was a vaccine injury. And, I remember I was laid up for like 5 months. I was in a lot of pain, could barely walk at times. And I was really, I was a hurting unit. Now I just saw a video, a friend of mine sent me a video about a guy who was in a horrible car accident. And instead of having one herniated disc, I think he had like 5 herniated discs. He broke his ribs, and they had to remove some of his ribs, so he doesn't have the core that we all probably take for granted. A lot of us have that table core that we get for our table muscles. We're exercising those all the time. I know. I'm here, right here. But this poor guy was in excruciating pain. He said it wasn't from like 1 to 10. It was like 11 all the time. It was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. And he talks about his experience with, I guess, finding out that he was not living a very good life. And even though he thought he was a Christian, a Catholic, and basically the verdict was that you're not really going to go to where you want to go. It's going to be a darker place. And the thing is, it's going to be without God, forever and ever. Amen. That's what hell is like, without God, without hope, without love, without peace, without healing, it's all those horrible negative things that we do experience in this life, but compounded probably ad infinitum for infinity, for eternity. Man, that kind of suffering kind of sobers you up. You think, maybe it's not worth, doing some of the the naughty things that we think are, make us feel good or whatever, But anyway, but apparently, getting back to this little highlight thing, it's what people hear, and a lot of times, don't we all know that it also has a negative effect on what people hear, because sometimes people might hear you say something that maybe you really didn't even intend to say, but they hear you say something and they take it wrong. That happens all the time. So it's interesting when you say something and it doesn't, I wasn't thinking I was saying it was being something spiritual or philosophic or profound or insightful. I was just kind of maybe talking about life, just life in general, and how our faith, has a bearing on all of that. Makes it, you can find meaning. You find meaning in from your faith that again kind of accentuates your day-to-day life, gives it, kind of energizes it, gives it meaning, punches it up. Apparently these microphones, they need a preamp, I guess, and one thing is called a cloud lifter. It's an inline preamp to your audio interface that goes from the audio interface then into your recording device, whether it's an iPhone or it's whatever. There's just, unfortunately, this is turning out to be it's like opening up a can of worms. You think you finally figured out the secret, and you find out that now there's more other secrets that lead to other secrets in the audio recording and video editing, game. Who knew, So anyway, so you have to kind of amplify these mics before they actually go into the sound source and into your recording source. And so it's like a little series of components that amplify and modulate or equalize the sound that's coming into the mic, then that's going into your recording. And, I guess that's kind of the way it is with life. We have these interfaces, and faith is one of those. Culture's another one. Our own history is another one. And all those kind of go together into making, kind of what, maybe making sense out of, an experience, a life experience to some extent. So, again, I don't claim to know. I don't have any secret knowledge. I really don't. And I think that's another thing. I watch some of these religious commentators and not commentators, content creators. More like faith-based kind of, whether they're Christians or Catholics or whatever. And sometimes it does seem like they're, and again, this is I guess it's what sells, it's what sells. Gets the bigger audiences, gets all the views, gets all the likes and the clicks and all that. And if you have, again, think about it, whatever thing you're interested in, whether it's your faith or, whatever your favorite hobby is or your sports team is, politics is another one, but if you can kind of sense, if you can project that you've got some inside track, that you know something that most of the regular Joes and Janes out there that don't know, well, that's how you get a following. You know, I hate to say it, but you know, you've got to be like the not just the expert, but you've got to be like the guru. You know, you've got to be like the mystic that has the secret sauce. Yeah, you've got to have the sauce. You know, and you know, you can have all the drip. Is this guy Sky Money? You know, he's got that lingo down. You know, it's really hard in the paint. Yeah, you know, just saying. But you can have all the drip, and you can have all of the know-how, the expertise to how to work it all and make it all look and sound good. But you gotta have the sauce. Yeah, gotta have the sauce. Because that's what's going to get you the views. That's what's going to get you the revenue. That's what's going to get you the likes, and you know. And but that's the way it is in life. You know, the people that and again, I hate to say it. I don't want to say that they're all charlatans. And maybe there are some people out there that are genuine. They really know what they're talking about. They're the real deal. I think one person that springs to mind for me that's the real deal is Dr. John Campbell. Okay, now the guy's he's kind of now a legend. You know, he's just a wonderful guy from the UK. I'm sure many of you know who I'm talking about. You can't go on YouTube without seeing a John Campbell video, and he's talked a lot about the virus of unknown origin. You know. The unspecified virus of unknown origin, you know. And right now he's chronicling the excessive deaths in both America and the UK and I guess Australia. But he's the real deal. You know, I really don't think that this is a gentleman who's trying to sell you something. You know, he's not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. He's not trying to... You know, he's not a snake oil salesman. He's just a guy who, you know, literally follows the evidence of medical evidence, and you know, and wherever that leads, you know, he's unflinching. He's going to say, well, you know, and he's going to say things, and he does sometimes. I think some of his videos get removed. Some of my videos have been removed, both on both channels. You know, because I say, as many of you know, Pipe Pals, I say things that are kind of unpopular. You know. Oh, excuse me. Boy, that's good. I'm surprised. I really thought this was going to be super dry, and it's not. It's pretty good. It's tasty. Not just delicious, but tasty. Man, that's good. Yeah, let's see. It's a little bit after 10 o'clock, and that's another thing. That's another thing that I want to tell you about. You know, I'm going to talk to you about right now. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit after 10 o'clock. Normally, I am just, by about 7 o'clock at night, I'm ready to just, you know, I'm going down, you know, going inverted, you know. It's like no energy, just super tired all the time. Got a lot of stuff going on, especially this weekend. So for me to be up and making videos and playing with sound equipment and lighting and all this stuff, I mean, sometimes this stuff just is so, I mean, a lot of it's not super duper complicated. I mean, if you want to get into, I mean, I was listening to somebody talking about the sound waves on these different mics and the phases and decibel levels and just, input gain and impedance and all that. I mean, I'm like going, man, I can barely understand what they're talking about, but I kind of understand. But still, and putting together this light was not super easy. I found a nice guy on YouTube. It was kind of funny because I got this light kit, and at first I thought, hey, I'll just pop it on the light, right? No, it's not quite that simple. And it was kind of intimidating because I thought, well, man, this thing has got all these component parts, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. So again, YouTube, the world's classroom. Just if you're trying to figure something out, and this guy comes on and he was great. He just said, there's a lot of people that complain about this thing, and they say it's too complicated. And he goes, let me show you. Let me show you how to do it. It ain't that bad. And he put it together in 3 minutes. I mean, I was trying to figure it out for 15, 20 minutes. I had no clue. I could sense that, okay, you put this thing into that thing, and then that thing goes into this thing. But it was like, what the heck? So anyway, I watched this video, this guy, and he just made it, he made it really, really simple and clear. It was like, okay, I think I know what he's doing now. And he just walked you right through it. And I was able to set up my light within about maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops, maybe that. Because there's like 8 different little components that you have to, well, actually, it's probably more than that. But anyway, long story short, it all came together and it was good. And so that's why I think hopefully the video quality is a lot better now with the lighting. So anyway, but where was I going to go with that? It just, things in life can be complicated, and normally I feel like I've got I'm like a MacBook Pro battery. I can go most all day, but towards the end of the early evening, I'm starting to run out of juice, and I've got to recharge. And for some reason tonight, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good. Haven't had any coffee. Haven't had any real coffee in over 4, 5, 6 weeks now. So Easter Sunday, I'm looking forward to my first cup of real caffeinated coffee. Last year, it didn't work out that way, and I was also in a lot of pain from the herniated disc I think I had of my back problem. It threw my back out. This year, thanks be to God, touch wood, no pain, doing really good. I'm really grateful for that. I've been trying to lose weight, although this week with Irish, there's something about St. Patrick's Day, not just day, but the week, I kind of give in to some of those carbs. I like potatoes, and I like soda bread, and but it's just, tonight I had it was Friday, so I just had some potatoes, which I normally don't do, but it's in honor of St. Patrick's Day. So pretty much I think I'm done with my carb treats. I kind of went on a little carb splurge the last couple of days, and so I really need to just kind of say, okay, you're done. You did your carb thing, you got it out of your system, and it's back to fasting and carnivore starting tomorrow. Starting right now, actually. Yeah, starting right now. Not tomorrow, not Monday, but right now. So anyway, but normally I don't have a lot of energy. But lately I've noticed that I'm not as tired. Not as tired as I normally am. So not sure exactly what's going on. We'll see how I feel in a few days. I might not feel so good after all the carbs. I mean, of course, I didn't quite overdo it. Well, maybe a little bit. So we'll just have to get disciplined again and just say, okay, well, that was enough, and enjoy what you had and be grateful and move on. So I'm hoping that'll be the case. So 39 minutes into this video. That's one other thing I was going to talk about, maybe. Yeah, I guess maybe I'll finish up with this little dissertation here. A lot of people, a lot of young people, and probably a lot of everybody, I guess, to some extent. Excuse me. We want to, when it comes to technology, a lot of people, technology, and I'd even say our technology borderlines also on science fiction. I mean, clearly it does. But it's almost like people, like the new Dune 2 movie came out. Dune Chapter 2, or whether the second movie in the Dune, I guess it's a trilogy now. And a lot of people that kind of take their cue from science fiction, whereas I think science fiction used to be kind of like, well, it was, fantasy. People knew it was fantasy. And, it's sort of like, what would it be like, and that kind of thing. But it wasn't like seeing it as a real window to what's going to happen. And I think a lot of the people that I watch, and I find them very fascinating, is that they look at technology as a way of looking literally into the future, especially with the Vision Pro. I know for some of you that's probably beating a dead horse right now, but the people that really, a lot of people, and I know I said this in my last video, so forgive me for being a bit redundant, but a lot of people who got the Vision Pro, they returned them, but the ones that are holding on, they're really holding on kind of, I wouldn't say with the death grip, but they're putting a lot of faith, I think, into the Vision Pro. I think it's sort of like, well, this device is, again, literally kind of like a window into what the future is going to be. It's kind of like, well, this is the future, kind of. And I'm a part of the future by having this device. And a lot of us, we want to, this person brought this to my attention the other day, and I went, wow, that's a great insight. But as Christians, as Catholics, we're forbidden from going out to seeing fortune tellers or psychics, people that supposedly can tell you your future. That's a bozo no-no, okay? And I think that technology sometimes is kind of like that. I know that when we have severe weather, unfortunately, I get pretty attached to the phone because I think, oh, well, just tell me when it's going to end. You're right? I want to get that forecast, that weather forecast. And 9 times out of 10, it's useless. It's pointless. Snow will stop in 30 minutes. No, it doesn't stop in 30 minutes. It probably doesn't stop until another 12 hours and 30 minutes. And last year, it drove me nuts. Literally just drove me nuts because I was trying to look at the roof because our roof gets loaded up with snow, and I got to get that snow off the roof because it's dangerous for lots of reasons. And so I have to stay on top of it. So I need tools that are accurate. And most of the weather tools, they're useless. And this year, and when we had the big blizzard a couple weeks ago, kind of almost fell in the same trap. I'm like, what's the phone say? What does the forecast say? And it was just completely letting me down, hour by hour. It was just so inaccurate. And then the big day, it was like, it started like 4 days, and then on the 4th day, that was when it was really gonna, it was like a marathon. This thing doesn't start until the day 4, and you've already got 3 days, 3 months and 3 days. Now the real storm's going to start. Like, oh, great. So I intentionally said, you know what? I'm putting the phone down. Not going to look at the forecast. I got eyes and I got windows. Mountain's going to do what the mountain's going to do, and you know what? When it stops snowing, it's going to stop snowing, and that's it. And I just kind of, said, well, I'm just going to, I think that's, I don't know if I made some goodies. I can't remember what I did. I don't know what, I just remember I just wasn't going to look at that phone. It was kind of like, okay, we're done with, letting yourself get psyched out and set up, trying to predict the future. And I think that that's where a lot of the technology is that it's kind of, on that borderline between just a tech tool and something that you're trying to use to forecast the future. Now, it's interesting because a lot of the tools that are industry standards, I'm finding out, just like like the mixer. How many people know about the good old KitchenAid mixer? That thing's over 100 years old. That design is over 100, and they haven't changed it hardly at all in 100 years. That's the same, almost the same identical mixer that you could buy 100 years ago. You can still buy today. Why? Because that design has withstood the test of time. And I'm finding out that instead of looking at future things, a lot of the things that, again, are industry standards, like in microphones and audio recordings, are microphones like these two mics I got here. This NTG3 and the Sennheiser, 416. This 416, I think, goes back to the 70s, maybe, or maybe the NTG goes back to the 70s. Anyway, maybe this goes back to the 60s. They're like 40, 50-year-old microphones. Now, I mean, these are brand new, but the design hasn't changed in maybe 50 years for both of these mics. These are still, again, industry standard mics. These are used in movie making and broadcast and all sorts of things, and they withstood the test of time. It's, same thing with cameras. Now you can buy some new, like the Sony ZVE-1. I have the Sony ZVE-1, which is a mirrorless camera. But for the most part, a lot of good cameras are still good. Now, and again, there are also people, excuse me, I'm probably going to have to bring us to an end here because I am running out of time. But there's a young gal who is very fascinating. She's a photographer, but she's got the strangest, she looks like she's one of these exotic, when I say exotic models, I don't mean like a stripper, but she has this bone structure that's very photogenic, and yet when she's not glammed up, she looks kind of like a tomboy. But you can tell by her eyes and her facial structure that she's very beautiful, but she doesn't do a lot of the glam stuff because she's mostly running around photographing other models. But she only uses film. She doesn't use digital. Everybody that just is into digital. And yet there are some people that are preferring to go back and use the older equipment, which I think is fantastic. I think it's awesome. That's a real creative person there. They're not really depending on the drip, the tech toys, for trying to make them, better. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I think, like with good lighting, you have to have good lighting if you're going to, make photos and videos. Good lighting is essential. Audio is essential. But at the end of the day, it's your creativity that puts it all together. This little setup that I've got here. There might be other people that say, I wouldn't shoot a video like that. You're wasting your time, or that's not effective, or probably not for somebody that's really maybe in the know. But somebody who's kind of a novice like myself, kind of setting it up the way I've got it right now, it seems to work okay. I'll find out later after I, watch the video. I turn the mics off and turn the camera off and the lights off, and kind of look at the video on my own and say, well, what did it work this time? Because I know the last video I did, I was using 2 different software camera applications, and they just weren't meshing. There was a little bit of a delay. The guy goes, yeah, the audio quality is pretty good, but there's a delay. And I thought, I thought I saw that too, but at the same time, again, I was so tired trying to upload that video. I said, you know what? It looks like there might be a little bit of a delay, but I don't know if I'm not going to worry about it. Because I've seen professional YouTubers who have 50,000, 100,000 subscribers, and sometimes their videos aren't perfect, So I said, well, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it, that's for sure. So I think this one here will probably be fine, because I'm I'm basically, let's see, I'm going to turn that down just a little bit, maybe. How's that? Okay. I'm just I'm using 2 Apple applications. The last one I used was Apple Camera app, and then I also used oh gosh, sometimes I forget. I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, cut that out. So I used another camera app, and it just the audio, I guess the frequency or whatever was a little bit off. So when I went to mix the videos, that's why it was a little bit out of sync, I guess, or a little bit delayed. So anyway, thanks so much for taking time to spend time with me watching this video. Again, this was kind of an impromptu video. This wasn't, normally I sit there and say, I want to get on there and I'm going to talk about this, or I'm going to talk about that, or I want to share about this experience, or I want to talk about maybe, maybe I get a new Mac toy or something. I want to do a box opening or a new pipe, or oops. Oh my goodness. Did I hurt you? I'm sorry. Did I hurt you? I'm so sorry. Anyway, I'm talking about mics now. I'm going to give them names, maybe, Heckle and Jekyll or something like that. I don't know. So anyway, but tonight I just said, you know what, I'm just going to do a little dry run here and see what the audio quality is like, and see if I can kind of clean up the multicam experience a little bit, make it a little bit more, synchronized, see what the light's like, the new lights and everything. So anyway, but if you've been here with me on this journey, I just want to say thank you. Okay. All right. Appreciate your time. And, we'll certainly see you, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise in the next one. So, as I like to say, light up your world. And light up your pipe. And be salty. See ya.